All right, it's been 1 week into the bank run. We've had all of our props with us along the way. We even visited SVB headquarters. We've documented all of it up until Friday. Now we got FRC and a bunch of other stuff, and everybody's watching this, and it's very, very wild, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the videos, but a big question that's been coming up is, what do we actually do in a bank run? Some people are even saying, my mom and dad, they just figured out about it. What do we do now? So I figured I would give you 3 simple things that you can be looking for to make sure you are protected. Realistically, what it all comes down to, this financial situation, is it a big deal? It is. But is it going to affect everybody and be the worst thing ever? Well, time will tell. We're going to find out. But as of now, there is a majority of banks that are not at risk, where it seems like a couple of small banks, those are the ones where people have been having the problem. Now, obviously, if this small problem spreads to the big problem, that is why financial markets are worried about it right now. But that being said, before I go into any of this, maybe I should tell you, 1, I'm not a financial advisor. None of this is a recommendation. I'm a little Egyptian boy. That's me. Nice to meet you. I'm Josh. Hopefully you liked the video and subscribed. But in all honesty, though, I'm not trying to encourage a bank run, nor do I think there is a real financial risk. Do I think it's possible and potentially? Of course I do. That is just with how fast things have developed, but it's not as if I'm saying like, oh my gosh, you better run and take all your money out right now. No, like even then, we even found out this week on one of the videos, they'll give you cash even if you show up there with a relatively short notice. So hopefully we got all of that, but now let's talk about this and let's make it very simple. Number 1, the first thing that you should be doing during a bank run, or making sure that you have, is another bank account. This whole bank run, this has not been people lining up to go and get money. When you hear about $43 billion of SVB capital outflows in one day, that's not people going to the bank and taking their money out, walking out in bags. No, it's simply people withdrawing from one bank account and moving it to another bank. And this is one thing everybody can do, and you should make sure you have it. I actually say the biggest risk that you run is simply not having another bank account, because if you are in a risky bank, or your bank ends up turning into a risky bank, last thing you want to be doing is scrambling, saying, okay, I have a window where I can move my money, but now I need to go set up a new bank account. Now I got to do it. So just do it all now. Have that ready. You don't even have to use it, but the idea is, if your money does come under threat, if you don't want to wait for FDIC insurance, anything like that, you can move your money from one bank account to the next. Simply the easiest thing, and I would say this is definitely the most important thing, and sadly, like, one of the only things you can do, because that's like, even in the process of this, it's like, what do we do during a bank run? You could protect your money and just making sure you have immediate access. That's as far as you could go, and there will be a limit to what you can actually do. And then the next side is like, how can you trade it and do stuff with it financially, position yourself or hedge yourself to make sure that you're not at total risk. But like I'm saying, if you don't have a safe spot to keep your money, well, whatever you're doing trading doesn't even matter at that point. But that's a whole nother topic. But that is the first thing. Make another bank account. Step number 2 now. The second thing you should be doing is simply going to your banks and seeing your limits for insurance, either FDIC or SIPC, SIPC, that is for brokerage accounts. But just make sure you're under the limits. Most bank accounts should be covered by that. And pretty much if you are below the $250,000 or $500,000 threshold, the logic is you are insured and should have immediate access to your money. So what I'm trying to tell you is, go through, or if you need to explain this to anybody, as long as you have your below the limit, you should be good. Anything above that, what you can do is simply spread it out amongst multiple accounts. If you're above 250, keep 250 in another. Whatever is above that, go put it into another account, and that does qualify as 250 per account. Now, here's the thing. as of now, with what we've seen with SVB and Signature, regulators stepped in immediately and they were offering people access to their money by the weekend. So if you were below the insured limit, you are good to go. But even above the limit, they made sure those people got that money. Now, the thing about what we have going on here, it's only been a week. This has only been 2 banks. The debate right now is how would every other bank get handled, or what happens if this spreads. So the problem would be, even if you're below the limit or above the limit, how long does it take for you to access your money? And that's what I was saying earlier. The whole point with all of this is you got to determine the risk to reward. You got to be monitoring your bank and determining, okay, it makes sense for me to, move my money around, but at some point, we don't know how this situation will play out. And if it plays out more negatively, the accounts above the insurance limit, they will take even longer or may not even get their money at all. But anything below, right now, the running theory is that you should have access to your money immediately, and there shouldn't be more than a weekend delay like we've seen. But we'll watch how that plays out. But that's tip number 2. And then finally, number 3, very simple here, monitor your bank. Like I'm telling you, most banks right now are secure. There's a couple of banks, and some people are finding out, oh, wait, I do actually bank with them. Monitor what's going on, monitor the news, see what they say about regulators stepping in or not. If your bank has regulators stepping in, that's not a good sign. If you hear your bank is going to public markets, selling shares to raise money, that is not a good sign. If you hear that your bank is selling assets for sale at a loss, that's not a good sign as well. It's up to you to monitor your bank and really determine, okay, there is a lot of bad news developments. Maybe I should go utilize one of those other bank accounts and go from there. So hopefully you see what I'm saying. There's only so much you can do. You could have the infrastructure set up so you're ready to go, but it's going to be on you to monitor it. This is a bank by bank situation, and really all you can do, the whole benefit, because again, we could go down the rabbit hole. It's like if you really do get a full-on banking collapse, like, okay, none of this stuff matters anyways. I mean, you can't get your money regardless. If that's why some people are like, this sounds scary. It's like, no, this shouldn't be scary, because even in the biggest, worst possible event, well, none of this stuff matters. But for the most part, the main logic of this video, what I'm telling you, and even how people have been moving things around in this last week, it's simply about maintaining immediate access to your money and making sure that you actually have a claim to your money and that you could claim it quickly. I mean, no matter what happens, you always have a claim to your money, but the question is, how long will you be without it? And the whole tip here that I'm saying is, if the risk to reward is low, the main logic should be being able to have immediate access to all liquidity. So hopefully that helps, Chad. Let me know what you think. I got another update for you tomorrow, because we still had a lot of other updates there with Credit Suisse, FRC. They offered more for sale. We're going to find out if UBS buys Credit Suisse, and then we're going to see what happens until Powell next week. And then we will really know if this banking crisis is going to get worse or not. But I hope these tips help you out for now, Chad. But I love you. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you tomorrow, and get ready for a wild week. Peace out. Peace out. Thumbs up, baby. Hey, man, stay humble.